So whoever forsakes those doubtful, unclear things.
Okay, doubtful or unclear thing, I would rather translate it as ambiguous. Or, no, sorry, not ambiguous, dubious. Dubious matters. This is better than doubtful or unclear. Dubious matters.
Lest he may commit a sin, will definitely avoid what is clearly prohibited, and whoever indulges in these unclear, dubious matters bravely is likely to commit what is clearly prohibited.
What does this refer to? It refers to when going to transactions, when going to buying and selling. There are things that are crystal clear, halal. What's the ruling on buying water? Halal, thank you. What's the ruling on buying wine? Haram, thank you. What's the ruling on XYZ? I have to analyze. Is it halal? Is it haram? As long as there is doubt in it, leave it. As long as you're doubtful about it. Okay, Sheikh, but it might not be haram. True. But what's the other end of the equation? It might be haram. So there is a probability. The hadith tells you that there is a sanctuary. This sanctuary belongs to the king. And the king has all of his livestock in it. There's a big fence and a big warning sign. If your animal of your livestock enters this sanctuary, it will be the end of it. It will belong to the king. You cannot call it back. So now you say, there is 5 meters. Okay, I can bring my livestock and the herd, they can graze around it. Not going to. Are you approaching danger zone? The Prophet says it's the same thing with dubious matters. You say, Akhi, this is not haram. Bring me the dalil. Akhi, it's not everything 1 + 1 = 2. There are other indications, indicators, there are other signs that makes it haram. So no. I want something that comes and says smoking pot, smoking marijuana is haram. Do you have this? I said, no, not in the text. I don't have something that says drinking whiskey or vodka or tequila or gin is haram. I have general definitions of it. He said, no, I will not. This is not dubious. This is almost haram or clear haram. But you, the Prophet ﷺ is trying to align you with the Sharia, with the Quran and Sunnah. Something that is dubious, stay away from it, or you're inevitably going to fall in haram. And there are many examples of this. Okay.
Since are Allah's hima, that is private pasture, and whoever pastures his sheep near it is likely to get in it at any moment.
This is the pasture, which is the sanctuary that the king has, and this is well known to be his property. Don't approach it. And likewise, don't approach anything that may make you fall into clear haram because you're close to it.
Chapter 3.
ناخذ أسئلة ولا نمشي؟
إذا تبي شيخ تاخذ من 5 دقائق أسئلة وبعدين نكمل.
طيب.
لأن إحنا 9:30.
Okay, only in what was related, in what we studied. Don't ask me what's the ruling on fasting the 29th of Sha'ban. This is not related. Only in what we've studied. Do you have any questions? Or we should move on? Yes, sir.
Just you said it was from plague. Does that also include the stomach disease? I heard one of them was if you die from a stomach disease.
No, stomach disease is mentioned in the hadith.
Okay.
Da'ul janab.
Okay.
So this is mentioned in the hadith, and anyone who dies with an illness in his intestines is considered to be among the martyrs. But ta'un is the plague. It's something to do with the respiratory. Al-mabtun, also al-mabtun. But the plague is a specific pandemic that the Prophet was mentioning عليه الصلاة والسلام. dubious إن شاء الله. ما أدري والله. ما أعرف إنجليزي. أنا بتكلم بس.
Condition, second condition, to be authorized to deal, and the fourth condition, a person to be owner or authorized. What is the difference?
The owner is someone who owns it. The second one is in the person. I might be the owner. I might be the owner of this book. Number two says, yes, but there are conditions. Authorized. I am the owner. Am I authorized? What do you mean? Am I sane or insane? No, I'm insane, but this book is mine. So you're not authorized to deal. Am I an adult or a child? Am I sound in decision or I'm safih? Am I a slave or a free man? This is number two. It's characteristics of the owner. Authorized to deal. I am the owner. Number four, no, the one who's really doing the selling may not be the owner. So one of the conditions, number four, is to be the owner with the four conditions of authorized. Okay, if I'm not the owner, someone whom I authorize, someone who has authority. So I'm the guardian over 5 orphans, their children. But I'm their guardian. I have the authority to sell and to buy in their interest. But someone from the streets, he says, no, I will sell this building. What do you relate to them? Nothing. Do you have any authority? No. So you're not authorized.
One question that you mentioned that the product should be available and can be touched of sin. If it is not available, you cannot sell. So when we are buying the apartment, which is not at all constructed, it will be constructed in the future, but I am buying and paying a contract. Is it valid transaction?
This is called in fiqh al-istisna', to manufacture something according to my description and demand. So I say to you, I need 100,000 paper cups. So okay, khalas, bismillah. So wait. You have to describe it. The material has to be this. The diameter has to be this from the bottom to the top. The color has to be this. I give you an order and you say, okay, this will cost you so much. My profit is so much, or I'll give you a lump sum. This is permissible. This is istisna. What we're talking about when we said that it has to be possible, any ability to deliver it, is when you sell something that is not possible to deliver. So if I say to you, okay, I will sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. How am I going to deliver it to you? Or I say to you, I'll sell you a space shuttle, and I don't have the means of manufacturing, or I sell you something on the moon. I'll give you 4 by 4 kilometers on the moon, and it's your name, and we will make it, inshallah, a great place to migrate to. So, wow, jazakallah khair. And I give you, and they were doing this in America, by the way. And they were selling it, pieces of land, and you go authenticate the deeds, and this is un-Islamic. Yes, sir.
You said that whatever you're selling has to have a value.
Correct.
Let's say there are things which have perceived value. For example, in Dubai they're selling number plates. So, and for exorbitant prices. So is this allowed?
No, this is not allowed. This is something that has no benefit. This is extravagance. This is selling something that has no value, which is a license plate A1. And you sell it for 5 million, 6 million dirhams, maybe 10 million dirhams. What's the benefit of it? Showing off, extravagance, and wasting money. This is totally prohibited.
Sheikh, this is permissible to sell it, like you said, in the sea, fish. So nowadays, someone asked this question, selling water from the natural resources, because he is not owner, but it's a natural resource. He is making the bottling and he is selling the water. So does this permissible?
Does he do any work? Is there any cost on him? Is he putting any effort into it? Of course. He's collecting it, he's refining it, he's bottling it, he's storing it, he's marking it. This is different from someone who sees a well in the open and he puts a fence and he prevents people from drinking. No, people are in common use of water, of fire, and of grazing. This is Allah's property and it's for free. But if I have my own property and there's a well inside it and people want to take water from it by force, no, this is mine. You see the difference? There's no problem in selling water, inshallah. Shall we? Yes, sir.
You mentioned about the buying or selling anything after Salat, after Azan al-Jummah.
Correct, before the end of Salah.
Okay, because there is some scholars, they differ, is it the first Azan or the second Azan?
That's why I said the one that is preceded by the salam of the Imam. When the Imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and sits, the Muadhin gives the adhan.
Yeah.
This is first or second? This is the second. This is how we identify which adhan. That's why I said it, so that there would be no ambiguity. It's the adhan that is preceded by the salam of the Imam. The first one, which is an hour earlier, no, you can buy and sell. No problem.
Sheikh, sorry, connected to the same question. So for example, just before going to Jummah, we order something to be delivered and we pay at the time of delivery. Maybe he got late, so we go to the masjid. And the delivery happens after the adhan. So the transaction happens within this.
Transaction happened earlier.
Yeah, but it's only a call.
It happened earlier. Whether he delivers it after the adhan is made, you're in the masjid.
Yeah.
So your sister, someone who's not obliged to pray in the masjid would do the transaction. He's haram in doing it, but most likely he's a Hindu or someone, a delivery, he's not praying on time. So there's no problem that conducting the transaction, I sell, I buy, after the adhan is haram. You did it before. The delivery is included, but you're not there to receive it. You're in the masjid. So there's no liability on you, inshallah.
One last
Akeed? طيب.
This place is to be renovated. You're the client. I'll be doing the renovation for you. So you asked me what will be the cost. So we'll take an example, 100 kg. I quoted you 100 kg, but it costed me only 20 kg. So the 80 kg or the profit margin that I was going to put was till 50 kg. But I earned more how much? 50 kg extra. Is that haram?
This is something to be dissected. Now, I have approached you because you're a construction agent. So I want you to do a task for me. This task includes buying raw material, includes hiring labor, and the execution of the work. This is a package deal. Usually the people know that most people don't make a very big margin on the raw material, on the paints, on the cement, on the gypsum board. They usually make marginal profit, but they make a lot of profit on the labor and on the execution of the work. If I'm okay with that, and there's no ambiguity in the contract, and you sign it, if you make 50% profit or 100% profit, there is no margin of it. There's no cheating in it.
Okay, it's not cheating.
Yes. 5% is mine, inshallah, next time. Bismillah.
Chapter number 3. Explanation of doubtful things.
So now, after the Imam Bukhari mentioned the hadith of permissible and prohibited among them or between is dubious things, he wanted to give an example of what is dubious things that you should avoid.
Hadith number 986. Narrated Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Utbah bin Abu Waqqas took a firm promise from his brother Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas to take the son of the slave girl of Zam'a into his custody, as he was his, that is Utbah's son. In the year of the conquest of Makkah, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas took him and said that he was his brother's son, and his brother took a promise from him to that effect.
Okay, let us wait here because now we're confused. We don't know what's happening. Utbah ibn Abi Waqqas. Who do you think he's the brother of? Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas is one of the top 10 heaven bound. So Utbah is no more living. He died. He said and gave an advice to his brother Sa'd, "O Sa'd, when I die, this child is my son." Which child? The child of a concubine of a woman slave. She's a woman slave. She's a concubine. Who does she belong to? She belongs to Zam'a. Who's Zam'a? Zam'a happens to be the father of the mother of the believers, the second wife of the Prophet ﷺ. Her name is Sauda. Maybe most of you would say, never heard of her. Yeah, this is the second wife. After Khadija died, the Prophet married two. One elderly woman his age, Sauda bin Zam'a, and one young woman who did not reach the age of puberty, but the marriage was not consummated, and she was Mother Aisha radiallahu anha. So what happened was that this Utbah happened to have fornicated with that concubine, and she got pregnant. So he told his brother, "After I died, by the way, this is my child. So take him and give him my name." The child grew up after a few years, and at the time of the conquest of Mecca, when was the conquest of Mecca in Hijri? On the 8th year. Two men came with the boy. And the first one, Sa'd, who's carrying the advice and the recommendation of his brother, Utbah. The other one is Abd ibn Zam'a, the brother of Sauda, who says, "No, this boy is my brother because his father is my father and his mother is a concubine who sleeps on my father's bed. So what's the logical thing?" Sa'ad said, No. He is my brother's son because my brother told me that he fornicated with that woman. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ saying,
Abd bin Zam'a got up and said, "He is my brother and the son of my father's slave girl, and was born on my father's bed." Then they both went to the Prophet ﷺ. Sa'ad said, "O Allah's Messenger ﷺ, he is the son of my brother, and he has taken a promise from me that I will take him." Abd ibn Zam'a said, "He is my brother and the son of my father's slave girl, and was born on my father's bed." Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, "The boy is for you, O Abd ibn Zam'a." Then the Prophet ﷺ said,
okay, this is not the actual translation. Totally. The translation is in 4 words. The child belongs to the bed, and the fornicator receives only the rock. This is the actual literal translation. What does it mean? It means that regardless of what you claim, does the woman have a husband or a master? Meaning, does she have a bed? Then whatever she brings or gives birth to belongs to the bed. Who's the owner of the bed? Wallah, she's not married. And she's a free woman. This is out of wedlock. Khalas. But no, she's married. Who's her husband? XYZ. The child belongs to XYZ. But XYZ is impotent. He cannot have children. He's over 90 years old. He's paralyzed for 6 years. Who is the father of the child? XYZ. Yeah, Sheikh, this is the Islamic ruling. Now we go to XYZ. Do you challenge? I said, no, I'm happy. I'm good. Bring 6 of them. They're all my children. Khalas, he's happy with that. We judge by what we see. We have rules. So the child was born to a husband. The husband is the father unless the father denies it. Says, no, it's not mine. If he wants, he goes to stage 2, escalates by li'an. Li'an is to curse. He's not mine, he's not mine, he's not mine, he's not mine. May Allah's anger be upon me if he's mine. And okay, then we have to go to the woman. She says, Wallahi, he's his, and the fifth time, wallahi, he's his, and may Allah's wrath be upon me if I'm lying. What to do? Khalas. This is the Islamic Sharia law. Okay, Sheikh, we have DNA. Doesn't work. Sheikh, DNA proves everything. No. This is Islam, Habibi. DNA is circumstantial evidence. Might you be used to support, but not to indict or incriminate. It's how many people in America were thrown in jail for 30 years because of DNA, and after 30 years said, oops, we made a mistake. You made me lose 30 years. Who knows the DNA analysis and to take the DNA? Only a handful of people on earth. So it's something dependent on your judgment. Not everybody can see this. This is why, and this is not our topic, by the way. So the translation is wrong. The Prophet said, Al-waladu lil-firash. The newborn belongs to the owner of the bed. And the fornicator receives only the rock, meaning he has no value, nothing. He doesn't have anything to get hold to and to show to people. Nothing. Rock. Khalas. Okay. No, we didn't finish. ثم قال لسودة, and he said to
the Prophet ﷺ told his wife Sauda bint Zam'a to screen herself from that boy, as he noticed a similarity between the boy and Utbah. So the boy did not see her till he died.
Nah, this is dubious. The ruling is clear. The boy belongs to whom? To Zam'a, his father. So Abd, who's claiming that this is my father's child, you take him, he's yours. The fornicator, Utbah, his brother Sa'ad said, you have no right in this boy, he doesn't belong to you. But when the Prophet saw that there is a resemblance between the child and Utbah, there is a resemblance in physical features, now this became what? Dubious matters. Ruling, we have to rule it like the Sharia said, the boy is yours. But because of the resemblance, the Prophet ordered his wife, alayhi salatu salam, Sauda, who happens to share the same name with that boy. They have the same father. But because of the dubious issue, because of his resemblance to Utbah, he said, you have to wear the hijab. You have to cover. And she did not see him till she died. He was what? Her brother. He would inherit her if she dies. This is the legal aspects. But because there is a dubious issue, the Prophet said, refrain. Now you know what dubious means. Sharia-wise, same father, same identity card, same siblings, same relatives, but due to this ambiguity and confusion, she was ordered to wear the hijab from him.
Chapter number 4. Whoever does not consider dark suggestions by one's own self or similar things as dubious matters.
Okay, so who does not consider dark suggestions? I don't know if this is one of Batman's movies or what is dark suggestions? Dark suggestions. Waswas is dark suggestions. Waswas. I've been doing counseling sessions for ages. This is the first time I hear this description, dark suggestions. By whom? No, it's called whispers. Whispers of shaitan. So this is waswas. Bab, who does not consider whispers of shaitan as part of dubious matters. Why? Because we have to close the door of OCD. Wallahi, if I tell you the amount of counseling session I do for people over OCD, you'll be amazed. You think that Muslims are getting crazy. OCD is prevailing. And this is only attributed to lack of knowledge. The moment you have knowledge, no OCD. But when you don't have knowledge, it builds up in kufr, in whispers about Allah, about the Quran, about the Prophet ﷺ. And it started from little things, in purity, Oh, I'm dripping urine. Oh, my wudu is not correct. I repeat my wudu. I take half an hour to do ghusl. And then it escalates little by little. Sheikh, I made a lot of money out of this, alhamdulillah, may Allah protect us, of people saying, Sheikh, I want counseling session. And I give them 20 sessions. Of what? I divorced my wife, but I'm not sure if I divorced my wife or not. This is all what we revolve around. Sheikh, I was thinking of divorce, but I said to my wife, I was thinking a song, let's roll together. So I thought to myself, okay, this is divorce because I was thinking of divorce. I said, were you having a fight? I said, no. But because I was thinking, let's roll together, and as if I'm telling my wife I'm going with another woman who I'm marrying you, which means that I will divorce you. So is this ambiguous divorce, Sheikh? Yani I'm afraid even shaitan will say, ittaqillah. This is crazy. I cannot force you to do this. This is from you. And the guy comes back and back and back. All what you need to do is have knowledge. If you know that divorce doesn't take place unless you intend it, unless you say it specifically, not ambiguously, and that you don't have OCD. And after that, alhamdulillah, how did he resolve this issue? By recording. I said, I'm repeating the same words over and over again. Please record this session. He recorded it, khalas. Every time he wants to have one, he listens to it. Yeah, this is logical. No need. It ended. So OCD is problematic, but how to solve it? Through knowledge. Now listen to this hadith.
Hadith number 987, narrated Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Some people said, O Allah's Messenger, meat is brought to us by some people, and we are not sure whether the name of Allah has been mentioned on it or not at the time of slaughtering the animal. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them, mention the name of Allah and eat it.
Now this is problematic to most of the Muslims. Akhi, this halal or not halal? The meat is halal or not halal? Ya akhi, it's halal. What is the dalil? Come on. What do you mean by the dalil? No, you have to prove to me that it is halal. So what? Bring you video recording of its being slaughtered? It's halal. The hadith is not so open that people go to Russia who are atheists or communists, or go to India who are Hindus and just say Bismillah and eat. No, you have to know the background. The background is the hadith, the full hadith. O Prophet of Allah, we have people recently accepted Islam. And this is very important. It's not Chinese. If I go to China and they serve me meat and I say Bismillah and I eat it, no, this is not halal. Why? Because we as Muslims can only eat the slaughtering of... I made this statement once in Twitter and they banned me for 4 months. They say, you promote slaughtering the Jews and the Christians. The question was crystal clear. What's the ruling on eating in America from McDonald's and Burger King? I said, the slaughtering of the Jews and the Christians is halal. Which means that even if you are as good in English as I am, you make mistakes when you speak to people not knowing their background. Any Muslim would have understood it. The question is clear. The answer is anticipated. They think that read the question. Don't be stupid. Read the question. It's about eating the meat. Said, no, you said slaughtering. You have to delete it. I said, no, I'm not going to delete it. For 4 months, they suspended my account. I appealed. I sent to them quotations from the Quran. They sent back to me. You have to delete it. At the end of the day, I said, delete it. So every time I speak about this, I always bring this issue so that it remains in the back of our minds. We are under the microscope. We're Muslims. Whenever you speak, everything is being scrutinized. Never say something that may incriminate you or be misunderstood. Always be clear. So the slaughtering by a Jew, Christian, or a Muslim butcher of an animal makes the animal halal for me. Any other denominations is haram. a Buddhist, a Hindu, a atheist, someone who doesn't believe in the existence of Allah, if they slaughter and say Bismillah, Wallahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, it's still haram. Because only these three men we are allowed to eat from their slaughtering. So the hadith says these people just recently accepted Islam. They're not knowledgeable about the rulings. We don't know when they slaughtered, did they say Bismillah or not? This is the ambiguity in it. So the Prophet said, do not consider this to be dubious. What are the clear instructions? Are they Muslims? Yes. In this case, whatever they slaughter, when you get it, you say Bismillah, and this would make it halal. This raises and uplifts the hardship. Why? The butchers here in Kuwait, do you buy meat from them? The biggest is Americana. In Saudi, we rely entirely on Americana. It's a Kuwaiti establishment until, and as far as I know. Do you know the butcher who slaughtered it?
No.
Do you know whether they pray or not? Do you know if they said Bismillah or in the name of whatever? So how do you eat it? Now people with OCD are starting to make their calculations. Oh, okay, I have to remove the meat in the refrigerator, I have to do this. The Prophet is making life easy. So don't go beyond the ease of Islam and make things difficult. Now, if you want to protect yourself and say, I'm not going to eat of something that, yeah, this is up to you. The problem doesn't stop here. The problem is when you do this, 5-6 months, you start to look down at people. Oh, Sheikh Asim eats from McDonald's or Burger King, as far as we know. How does he know it's halal? How do you know that it's haram? It's a Muslim country. It doesn't serve alcohol. And the default is all the meat is halal. Ya akhi, in the Sahih, the Prophet ﷺ was invited by a Jew woman. And he answered the invitation with his companions. She put a lot of poison in the shoulder. The Prophet went and ate. Oh, Prophet of Allah, wait. She's Jew. And the income of the Jew, as mentioned in the Quran, is from riba and from haram. You should ask her, did you buy it from halal means or haram? No, he didn't ask. Okay, Prophet of Allah, she's a Jew. You don't know if this is fallen from a mountain or was killed by suffocation or slaughtered. You should ask. No, she's from the people of the book. Allah mentioned in chapter 6, Surah Al-Ma'idah, 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah, that their slaughtering is halal for us. Their meat that they slaughter is halal for us. So we can eat. So the Prophet acted accordingly. He did not ask. So do you know more than the Prophet? No. So why make life difficult? Now, if you don't feel good about it, don't eat. When you go to Canada or America, don't eat. I personally would go and check. They sell pork or not? They don't sell pork. Bismillah. I eat. I have no problem in that. You feel better, good for you. But don't look down at people and start saying, oh, this is halal, this is haram on your own thing, because the Prophet indicated clearly in the hadith, alayhi salam, Sammullah, you say Bismillah and eat. Khalas.
Chapter number 5. The one who does not care from where he earns his money, that is whether through legal or illegal ways. Narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a time will come upon the people when one will not care how one gains one's money, legally or illegally.
Of course, we change it legally into from permissible ways or from prohibited ways. Are we in such an era?
Yes.
Big time. And the biggest problem is among the Muslims. Why? Because they always play tricks and allow shaitan to play tricks by misinterpreting things. He's a brother with long beard, I'm a brother with long beard. And we find out that we have problems, disputes. What caused all of these problems and disputes? Misinterpretation. I say that I can take this money from our partnership because I'm entitled to it. I did this, I did that. And he says, I'm entitled to travel first class. Though, Allah said, from the money of the, and everyone starts to make misinterpretation. Allah's given her Jannah. Misinterpretation and conflict happens. I was involved in a lot of these conflict solving between brothers, and you will be shocked. Imams of masjid doing things that are clearly haram, but they are convincing themselves that it is totally halal, and they go to bed every night, sleep like a baby. But when you come to them and open their eyes and show them where the haram is, they realize it. Without knowledge, without being objective and sincere to Allah, you will always think that I have the right to steal from my company. Why? We have people who are bearded or pray in the first row, they steal from the company. They embezzle the wealth of the company. Why? They didn't give me overtime for 6 years. They told me in the contract that will give me this and that, and they didn't. So I'm entitled to do this, do that. He gives justifications for himself. So the Prophet is warning us, alayhi salatu wasalam, beware not to be the opponent, the prosecutor, the judge, and the executioner at the same time. Will you ever be at wrong? Because I have everything in my hands. When we see disputes between a man and his wife, usually the man is the oppressor. He's the one who's oppressing because he has the power of divorce. He has the power of not giving her money or not letting her travel. So he's the judge, he's the opponent, he's a prosecutor, and he's the executioner at the same time. And this does not exempt you from accountability on the day of judgment, where you will stand in front of Allah. So from now on, analyze every single penny that enters your wealth, because you will be asked, like we said yesterday in Jum'ah khutbah, you will be asked about every penny, where you earned it from, not only that, and where you had spent it in as well.
Chapter number 6, Trade of Cloth. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam and Al-Bara bin Azib radiyallahu anhu, who were traders in the lifetime of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We asked Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam about money exchange. He replied, if it is from hand to hand, there is no harm in it. Otherwise, it is not permissible.
Of course, otherwise is not the correct translation. The Arabic word is وَإِنْ كَانَ نِسَاء فَلَا يَصْلُحْ. Nisa can mean women, but they're not asking about exchanging women. It's not an orgy. They're asking about transactions, money. So nisa means to delay in time of payment. Another word of it is nasi'ah. So now in order to explain this, we have to explain what riba is. So bear in mind, maybe this is the last hadith, because we have to a little bit give you a vivid explanation about what riba is. Riba is, in Arabic, increase. So whatever increases called yarbu, yazid, ziyada. This is linguistically. But the definition in Sharia, the legislative definition is the increase over certain items. And what are these items? Listen carefully. The Prophet named alayhi salatu wasalam 6 items. What are these items? Gold in exchange of gold. Silver in exchange of silver. Draw the line here, because these 2 categories have a special ruling of them. Then he went to say dates, through dates. شو اسمه البر. No, not grain, wheat, sorry, wheat. By wheat. Barley, by barley, which is sha'ir, and salt by salt. These are 6 categories. The Prophet said, ﷺ, hand in hand, being immediate. And if these categories differ, you can sell as whatever you want or however you wish. So we have 2 categories, gold and silver, that are classified alone. And we, yarhamukumullah, and we have 4 items that are classified in their own category, which are dates, wheat, barley, and salt. The types of riba are 2. Riba and nasi'ah. Allah says in the Quran in chapter 9, إِنَّمَا النَّسِيءُ زِيَادَةٌ فِي الْكُفْرِ. What is nasi' in this ayah in Surah At-Tawbah? The idol worshippers knew that since the beginning of time, Allah made 4 months, Ashhur Hurum, sacred months. What are they? Correct. I need someone to specifically say it to me. Raise your hand, say I'm sure, and if not, I'll give you 100 KD. Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. These are the 4 sacred months. The Arabs knew that we should not initiate fighting, we should not invade one another, though they're idol worshippers. Sometimes they got squeezed at time and said, Ya Allah, we are in Muharram. Tell you what, let's call it another name. It's not Muharram. Muharram is the following month. Yalla, Bismillah, let's go and raid. So they delay months from their actual timing of the calendar so that they would change the ruling of Allah. And Allah considered that to be increase in kufr. Until the Prophet ﷺ was sent to them, and the whole year revolved to be exactly as was hundreds of years ago, like Allah has stated. So what is riba and nasi'ah? Riba and nasi'ah is when I give you a loan, 100 KD, and you say, I promise you to return it after 1 month. After 1 month, I come and I say, give me my 100 KD, or I'll give you 2 more months for 110. So the increase in the KD, which is the same item, was done in exchange of what? Of time delay. This is called nasi'ah. There is something else called riba al-fadl. Al-fadl is when you favor something over something. So there is an increase. And this happens, for example, if I have dates, good quality dates, and you have bad quality dates. So you come to me and say, Sheikh Asim, this is 10 kg of bad dates in exchange of 2 kg of good dates of yours. I said, okay, Bismillah, hand to hand. Halal or haram? Haram. And these are the 6 categories that the Prophet said that riba al-fadl applies in it. So gold by gold, whether raw material or made, it has to be equal. 100 grams, 100 grams. 22 carats, 22 carats. Now you can exchange. Otherwise, 101 is not permissible. Okay, Sheikh, but the 101 is given because the 100 grams are new gold or has a new stamp in it. So the 1 gram extra because of haram. And this is found a lot in women. She has a bracelet. She goes to the jeweler's shop. How much is this? He weighs it. He says 10 KD. She says, that design, how much is it? He says, this is 15 KD. She says, okay, here is 5 KD, bring me the new. Haram. You're exchanging 2 gold items that are not equal. Then this haram. What to do? We will get to know this. I don't want to confuse you because I just want to understand what riba is. Okay, Sheikh, then excuse me, but why did you classify these 6 items into 2 categories? The scholars say that time evolves and progresses and transactions differ. So why the Prophet selected these 6 items? All of the scholars of all schools agree that these are divided into 2 categories. 1, gold and silver. And they said, what is the illah? What is the reasoning between putting gold and silver separate? They said, 1, they have many. I will not go into details because you will sleep. And you didn't have dinner yet. So sleeping for dinner is not good. I will confuse you. I'll give you what Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah and our scholars have stated. They said that gold and silver have what is known as a thamaniyah. They are something of value that people use as a price. Anywhere of the world. You would like this iPad? How many grams of gold? 20. Faddal. I will take it willingly. I have no problem because universally it's accepted to be a value, something of a price to pay and get whatever you want to do in al-bay'. So gold and silver, we have no problem. Scholars said that anything that falls under this category would be considered the same ruling, which as we know today is currency, banknotes. In the beginning, banknotes were backed by gold or silver. If you go to Fort Knox, they have a reserve of gold in America. And they used to write that whoever has this document will be paid in the amount of gold. Here in Saudi Arabia, we, until 30 years ago, on the banknote, it said to be given to whomever carries this document the amount equivalent in silver. So in the beginning, this is what where did the bank note word come from? Some say that this originated in Italy, where the bancto or whatever they call is the bench, the desk. And people who had money, they used to go to merchants for safekeeping. So the merchants, usually Jews, when you know what happened to the merchant of Venice, you don't. So they come to them with a bunch of gold. The merchant writes for safekeeping, this is the amount of so-and-so, the value of so-and-so in gold. And everybody considered them to be the banks because they had this banquet or whatever. And this was done by the Prophet ﷺ, by the way, in Mecca. They trusted him with their wealth, so they used to give it to him. This is why he kept and left Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, so that after he migrated, Ali would return these money to their people. After a few years, the money that I have with this merchant, I'm too lazy to go and collect it, the gold, and buy things. So I go to one of the brothers, Akhi, look at this document, the bank note that guarantees that the merchant has this gold for me. And I started to circulate it. And he used to buy meat with it and the butcher would buy. So they started circulating and the merchant became Barclays Bank, became Chase Manhattan Bank, and this is how, few years later, which is few years earlier, countries thought of, this is lucrative. People are considering dollar to have value. Yalla, let's print $5 billion. Okay, what about the backing of it in gold? Oh, who cares? So now this is a different ball game altogether. We will not go into it. So gold, silver, and banknotes, they all share the issue of thamaniyah, that has a value and a price, which means that I cannot exchange one another unless it is hand by hand. Gold by gold, it has to be hand by hand, it has to be identical. 100 grams, 100 grams. So what's the use of it? No use. Why would I give you 100 grams and take 100 grams if it's the same thing, identical in carat and weight? So the Prophet said this to prevent it. Now, exchanging others, gold to silver, can it be same weight? Of course not. 10 grams of gold equals 1.5 kilograms of silver maybe. So there is no similarity. It's permissible to exchange with a condition that it is simultaneous, give and take. And this is called in Arabic sarf, exchange. It's like money exchange. It has to be hand to hand, simultaneous. So if I go to you and I say, Akhi, I have this 100 grams of gold, I'd like it in dollars. You said, okay, inshallah, come after 2 hours. Halal? No, it has to be simultaneous. You go and exchange Kuwaiti dinars to euros. I'm traveling to Europe tomorrow. He says, okay, come in the afternoon. I come in the afternoon, but I will not give you the money now, because the transaction can't be done except simultaneously. A lot of people say, okay, here is 5,000 Kuwaiti dinar, I'll come in the afternoon, collect it. Haram. This is part one. Category, that is value and price. Part two, scholars started saying, why the Prophet specifically mentioned dates, wheat, barley, and salt. So scholars gave so many interpretations and ideas. Some said dates because they're sweet, so anything that is sweet falls under it. Barley and wheat is something that is baked and stored. You can store barley and wheat for ages. It will not rot. Salt is for anything that is used as spices. So curry and other things, it's all under. Scholars looked into it and said, okay, the reason is two things. It's consumed and it's weighed either by size, liters, or by weight, which is in kilograms or pounds. And others added a third condition, which is it has the ability to be stored. So corn, wheat, barley, raisins are all considered to be riba items. But when we come to watermelons, can we have watermelon riba? Meaning I give you 2 watermelons, you give me 1 big one. Halal, haram? No problem, because it doesn't fall under the description. Oranges, apples, bananas, lettuce, vegetables, it's all kosher. I cannot store it. Most of these items are not weighed. They're sold by items, etc. This means that iron is okay. So I have 1 ton of good iron and you have 3 tons of scrap. And I deal in scrap. No, I'll take this. Bismillah, bismillah. No problem. Whether it's simultaneous on the spot or here is 1 pure good quality iron, ton of iron, I'll take your scrap a week later. No problem. Because it does not fall under these 2 categories. Did I bore you to death or I managed to make it clear, inshallah? Okay, so I think we have 6 minutes for questions. Yes, sir.
Sheikh, yesterday, a brother was saying that he plans to return a loan, and because it was over an extended period of time.
Exchange rate.
No, the exchange rate. Although it was in a foreign currency, but he plans to off voluntarily to convey his
appreciation.
Add on an amount to that, or maybe add a gift to that or something. Does that fall under the first act of riba?
Let's ask the shuyukh. What do you think?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, alhamdulillah. No? Depends. All, yeah. No. No, it's not riba. See, the riba has to be conditional. Meaning, I give you a loan, and this is a third category of the riba, which I did not go into because there is a number of issues, which is riba al-nasi'ah, riba al-fadl, riba al-qard, the riba on loans. And included in it, the first scenario I mentioned, the deposit, the huge deposit for the house. This is not a riba fadl or nasi'ah. This is riba qard. I'm giving you a loan and I'm getting benefit of the loan, a specific service or a specific favor. The brother is asking about someone who borrowed money from an individual, and when returning the money, he added something on top of it. This was done by the Prophet ﷺ. He used to do this when he borrowed things from people. Whenever it's time for payback, he used to tell his companions, give him better. So if he borrowed a 2-year camel, he would say, give him a 4-year camel, which is more valuable in price. And he used to say, the best of people in returning the loans are the best of people who give. This is conditionally related to a condition. When I give you the loan, 1,000 KD, you said to me, okay, Jazakallah khair, give me 1,000 KD, and inshallah when I'll return it, I'll inshallah be, this winking. And I understood, khalas, what you meant. And I have no problem with that. No, this is haram. But if you do it out of your own goodwill gesture, Wallah, Sheikh Assim gave me 1,000 KD, I'll give it to him with a Mont Blanc pen, or another gift, or a box of candy. There is nothing wrong. On the contrary, it's appreciative, because this is an incentive for me. Next time the brother comes and says, I'm in need of a loan. Yeah, sure, bismillah. Because I've learned my lesson that doing good gives you good, but I'm not anticipating. Because if I say, yeah, I'll give you 1,000 KD, but the brother, he gave me this and this and this. No, this is insinuating, as if I am telling you what to do. No, this is haram. And this is between you and Allah. هترجمها انت، انا ما اترجمها، هذا صعب علي. وين معروف. Sheikh says that whatever is known by default among the people is as if it's conditional. So now, if we know that if I give you 1,000, you will return 1,100 extra. No, this is conditional. This is haram, riba. But if it's not known, and I'm not waiting, I'm not anticipating, I'm not insinuating, and you're not hinting, and you give it, Jazakallah khair. Yes, sir.
You said now gold is not backed. So does it mean
what?
For the currencies, it says gold is not backed.
Is not
backed by the gold. The gold
is not not the gold. The banknotes are not backed by gold or silver.
So does that mean we can borrow now?
This is why I've mentioned in the early stages of defining the two categories of gold and silver, and whatever takes their role in the sense of being of value and price. Now this 10 KD, do you guys acknowledge that it has a value? With it, I can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So everybody acknowledges it. Does it have a value that I can go to the central bank and ask for gold? No, but I can buy gold worth of it. So this falls under riba category. I cannot give you 10 KD requesting you to pay back 11 KD.
And quickly, just a final answer. Bitcoin is too much. I know it's a long topic. Is it halal or haram?
Haram. Haram. Yes.
regarding the
سم والله ما ادري مين انت خليك مدهر هاي خلاص.
So let's say there is a currency exchange. It has to be hand in hand and at the same time.
Correct.
But let's say the currencies are different from, let's say, Kuwait dinar to rupees.
Which is logical because nobody would change rupees to rupees.
Yeah. So at that time, but the exchange happens on a delayed transfer.
Riba.
For example, now somebody gives me KDs, whereas I have to give the rupees back home. But when I actually give it, the bank takes time to deliver or to transfer from my bank to the other bank and so on. So there is a certain delay that happens. But the intention is there, the agreement is there, but it's a delay in the actual transfer. Is it valid?
What's the question? Okay. So, because I thought you will explain it to me. Anyhow, the question is very important. This concept, if I recall it correctly, is called in fiqh as saftaja. What does saftaja mean? It means that transferring the money through someone who has assets over there, like it's not money laundry, it's illegal. So you come to me and say, Sheikh Asim, this is 1,000 KD. I'd like to transfer it into rupees and deliver it in Chennai to my father. I said, okay, I'll take XYZ commission. Is this permissible or not? The answer is no, it's not permissible. Because there is no simultaneous handling. How would it become permissible? If I say to you, okay, come to me Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, which is 12:30 p.m. in Chennai, and let your father go to this address where my agent is there with the cash money. I will be selling you the 10,000, how was it, 1,000 or whatever, 1,000 KD into this much rupees, and it will be delivered on the same time through phone call. He comes at 10 o'clock. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Agent, my agent so-and-so, you've got the money? Yes, I have XYZ. Is his father there? Yes, his father there. So I give him the money and I say, okay, now give the rupees to the father. He gives the rupees to the father. This is a done deal. Halal. This is called saftaja. The simultaneous transaction has been done. Okay, what about the banks? The banks is different. First of all, the bank has a different status than individuals because they are a financial institution, and the guarantee of your money being delivered on time and as we have agreed upon is guaranteed. Not only that, when you go to the bank and you give them 1,000 KD, on the spot they will say to you, okay, we will transform it into rupees, and it's XYZ. Then we will transfer it on your behalf. So the transaction of selling rupees and dinar has been made. Now they take 7 KD for the wire transfer. This is different from the selling of the exchanging. The exchange has happened on the spot, and now I've authorized them to transfer the money to that. But again, they're not individuals, so we would have the fear of they're a financial institution backed by the government, and this is why we cannot do transfers without this means. And the scholar said that this is an exception of the general rule. I hope this makes sense.
Sheikh mentioned like gold with gold in equal weight.
Yeah.
So that would be like different carats?
No, if different carat, then this is not riba, this is not same. Because it has to be, yani logically, I will not do it. And this is what the Prophet wanted, alayhi salam. You want to, and this is why, okay, a woman who had that bracelet, what does she do? She goes and says, how much is this? He says, how much did we say? 10 KD. So he said, okay, give me the money. So the guy buys it from her. She cashes the money. The transaction is over or not? Simultaneous. Everything is kosher. Now she has the right to walk out and buy it from somewhere else, or now I begin a second transaction. How much is this? 15 KD. Bring it, please. He brings it. She gives him additional 5 to the 10 she has in her hand. This is a total new transaction, there's no problem in that. The exchange in one, 2 in 1 is totally haram.
Sheikh, in this case, she has to have the currency in her hand that can be.
Yes, it's not enough that to put it on. No, she has to catch it. Now the system, what may be ambiguous to people, is buying through ATM. Is ATM simultaneous? Yes. The moment you give the ATM and they swipe the card, it's immediately in their bank account. It's simultaneous. Is credit card, Visa or MasterCard simultaneous? No. This has a grace period, this has a waiting period, totally haram. So ATM you can do because this is cash in cash, immediate.
Sure. Just to follow up on that, sorry.
Credit note, they give the credit note instead of the.
There might be a confusion, it's stolen. They will not cash their money except after a certain period of time, even with the credit note. When you buy it through Visa, they will not give you immediately your amount. It has a system, and then there is a grace period for you, 40 days. So you didn't actually pay. Yes, sir.
Regarding the same gold transaction, so sometimes we get requests from elsewhere saying that, can you purchase this gold for us?
Is he authorizing you, or is he buying it from you?
Not buying. Let's say this person sends the money.
On what account? Are you making profit out of it?
No. On behalf of this.
Khalas, he's authorizing you. So we spoke about this issue. Now when he sent you the money and he asked you to buy it, this gold, 100 grams of gold on his behalf. When you come and buy it from me, are you giving me an exchange simultaneously?
Yes, of course.
Khalas, this is halal. Then you send it after 1 year to him, or after 5 months or 1 day. No problem. You are a representative of that person.
Even if that person doesn't give the money, I buy it by myself.
You buy it for your brother. My brother calls me, Sheikh Asim, in Kuwait they sell very good, nice jewelry. Please buy this for me. Okay, I buy it for him and I collect it from there. I'm authorized. I'm not making money or a business and profit out of it. Yes, sir.
Sheikh, in our country there is like different agents. They have empty lands and they start selling the files, just the files, for money, and then they allocate the files as per the amount of land or as per the amount of money you have paid for it. So can we sell the land before even it's allocated?
No.
You just have the files.
No, you cannot sell something that you do not possess and that is not identifiable. So the file that you get, maybe it's on a riverside, which is more lucrative, and maybe it's in the middle of the desert, but you don't know because there are files and the government allocates these files and then decides after collecting money which plot, whether who receives it from. Sometimes 100 buy these files and only 10 will get allocated lands, not all 10. So this is not permissible for you to sell because you do not possess something and you're selling like fish in the water. I'm buying it from you, I don't know, Allah, maybe I'm this or maybe I'm that.
The same thing about while buying, and he buys, he also doesn't know.
Likewise, when he buys from the government, also he doesn't know what he's buying. So this is not permissible, generally speaking.
Shaking this jewelry one, the jewelry thing, she needs to buy in the same place, or she better to buy from the other.
The first transaction is over, it's up to her. She can go out to somewhere else. She can save herself trouble by buying it in the same place. But the most important thing is she got the cash in her hand. If she goes out, the man would not say, "Sister, fear Allah, you have to buy." No, he would say, "Alhamdulillah." He's making profit both ways. So he's not going to hold you accountable, or you can do whatever you wish.
I hope last question process.
So if we have a loan that we have taken, okay, it is haram. Okay.
No, loans are not haram.
Okay.
Be specific.
Meaning if we pay commission.
Yeah, interest-based loan is haram.
Okay, now we are in a situation that we are paying commission. So how do we get out of it and
Pay it quickly. You cannot do anything. People who've indulged in mortgage or student loans, or bank loans. Do you think that if you go to the bank and said, listen, I've become practicing, this is haram, fear Allah, so, oh, jazakallah khair, khalas, go. They'll put you in jail. So you have no other alternative but to pay it as soon as possible. Borrow from halal people and give it to them and get rid of it as soon as you can. Jazakumullah khair, Mubarakallah.
Brothers, tomorrow shall we